Hello everyone, this is Paukshte Fashion Workshop. I remind you that we post new videos every day. Today we continue working with a blouse of an interesting design. Last time, I showed you how to adjust the armhole and the shoulders. Let's continue working with the front pattern. I'm drawing the yokes. I'd like to make a small yoke. I've measured and marked 2.5 cm from the shoulder seam at the base neck and 5 cm from the shoulder seam on the armhole. I've connected the points with a line. I'll sign the details, the shoulder, the neckline. I can cut the yoke now. You can make the yoke as big as you want. The line should be smooth and beautiful. Have a look at the pattern. Next, I need to draw a yoke here. I want it to be about 3 cm wide. To draw it, I need to measure and mark 3 cm circle-wise. You know what? I'll better make it 4 cm wide. It's very important to sign the details in order not to mix them up. I need to cut the yoke. It's 4 cm wide. Be very attentive, please. In order not to make mistakes, just sign the details. To the yoke. Center front. That's it. The round yoke is ready. Next, I need to move the opening of the chest dart here. The gather should run right to this yoke, right to its center. That means that I need to make an opening this way. I would also like to extend the front for about 2 cm, because the blouse should be loose. It's not necessary to do it. It's up to you. I need to make a cut here. I just need to make an opening here. By doing so, I'm making the gather bigger and the detail wider. There will be no waist tucks in the blouse. It will be loose down from the bust. I've extended the front just by 2 cm. The front pattern is almost ready. I also need to add about 2.5 cm here. It should be done for me to be able to stitch the yoke. I need to outline this edge first. Correct this line if it's necessary. Do not pay attention to these details. The line should be smooth and beautiful. I need to add 2.5 cm here. I'm doing it to be able to make an accurate gather and stitch to the yoke. As I've said, this allowance was added for me to be able to stitch the gather to the yoke. This is the original edge, and this is the extension for the gather. I also need to add 1 cm for the seam here. The gather should be stitched right to this line. I'll show you everything, don't worry. I can start cutting now. The blanket is ready. I'll cut the extra pieces from it later. I'll cut the yoke and the shoulder from strong fabric. Do not forget about the lengthwise grain. Cut the shoulders right the way it should be cut according to the basic pattern. I hope that everything is clear so far. This is the line for stitching. The gather should be stitched right to this line. I'll sign the right side of the detail. I remind you that I'm making just 1/2 of the front. Next, I need to cut the second yoke. The center front should be cut on the lengthwise grain. The width of the seam allowance is 7 mm. This is also the line for stitching. The yoke is ready. Next, I need to cut the front. This is how the front pattern looks like now. I need to pin it and then cut the detail. I don't need to add anything here because I've already added 2.5 centimeters. Make sure that you cut 2 details. I'm making just a mock-up, and I'm making just 1/2 of the front detail. Do not add anything for the seam allowance to the center front as well. It's already included in the pattern. As I've said, I had already added 5 mm for the seam allowance here. I can't wait to show you how the blouse is going to look like. Have a closer here. I edged this detail with rolled hem. This is the best thing to do. Be very attentive, please. This is the line for stitching. Do not ever draw with a marker pen right on fabric. I remind you that I'm making just a mock-up. I want you to see everything clearly. I've already made a seam here. The threads will be used to make a gather. This is what I'm going to do now. Don't gather too much. Make sure that it matches the yoke. Distribute the gather evenly. Move the most of the gather to the center. I remind you that the gather is made instead of the chest dart. Be very attentive. These details should be edged with an overlocker. Join the details in order to make the gather accurate. I want us to be different and beautiful. This is why I show you interesting designs. I want you to be able to sew and wear anything you want. This is why I show you so many different techniques and details. Be very attentive, please. These details should match. I need to gather it a bit more. Please be very attentive. You should be more accurate than I am. I'm just making a mock-up. I can start taking now. First, I'll tack the gather. Make small, accurate stitches. Notice that the detail is mostly gathered in the center. The sides are gathered just slightly. The back in the blouse is simple. There is no need for me to show you how to make it. In this video, I only show you how to make the front. Very nice. I hope that with the help of our lessons, you will improve your sewing skills and learn how to make different garments. I want you to be creative. I also want to remember that practice makes perfect. Have a look at the gather. You can see that the details are accurate. Next, I'm going to tack the yoke. The width of the seam is 1 centimeter. The edge of the gather is hidden in the seam. I'm just making the mock-up. You should choose the fabrics which do match each other. Try different interesting combinations. The yolks are almost ready. I'll tack the seam to one of the sides. When I was learning to sew, we used to make yokes just for the garments to keep their shape, for them to be stronger, for them to fit the shoulders better. Nowadays, there are different interfacing materials which are used for the same purpose. Be very attentive. As I've said, the edge of the gather is hidden inside of the seam. Next, I need to tack the placket. The side of the gather is hidden in this seam now as well. Have a close look at the mock-up. I've shown you how to make this detail. You can change the design however you want. You can make a yoke on the back. You can use different fabric combination. I combined light and strong fabrics. You can choose fabrics of different colors. Be creative. Learn to use your imagination. The most important thing is that now you know how to make this detail. It will make your garments more unusual and interesting. That's all for today. Be different and beautiful. My name is Irina Paukshte. Buy my courses, subscribe to my channel, write comments, share the videos, press the like and the bell buttons. I would really appreciate your support. Thank you. Goodbye.